Ah, yes, armaments. Probably one of the most complicated aspects of Rise of Kingdoms. And while I'm getting ready to do an entire series on armaments and go through all the inscriptions like I've done before, they're all upgraded. And before I do that, I want to give an Armament 101 crash course to all of you new players and all of you people who are just now getting through K2 and K3 and you're developing your marches, you're developing your accounts, and you're getting into SOC. So stick around because this is the video that is basically Armaments 101. We're going to talk all about it right now.
Rallies lit up, marching right from the zone to the zone. I stay in control. Man of the people, all heart, no roll, no script, no throne, just rhythm and fire. Built for the push, never gonna tire. You feel that burn, and you already know we're locked in deep. This is Chatsky mode. This is Chatsky mode.
Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I do these videos all the time, guides and fighting streams and all the different things with events that I love to do. I love the nuances of the game, and this is one of those things that I get asked about a lot. And one of my 300 members was actually like, hey Chatsky, can you create an armament video for dummies, right? Can you just do it for those of us who are just getting into SOC and trying to figure this out? So if you enjoy these kind of videos, please throw a thumbs up on it. Give it a like. Also, consider subscribing. It does not cost you a penny. And you can get the alerts by hitting that bell whenever I do this type of content, and it really helps out the channel. And so from there, this is the State Forum, okay? This is your building as you're coming through and developing your town, your city, if you will, and you are upgrading all your different buildings, okay? Upgrading it from level 10 to level 15 to level 20 to level 25. This is a building that they put into the game. Now, we've had armaments for over 2 years now, okay? So, the beauty with the armaments, it's much different than maybe commanders or some of the equipment in the early game because you can get armaments in the early game. You can start working on them immediately. So with your State Forum, you're going to want to get this building as high as you can. Now, the beauty with it is that when you have this building at like level 18 or level 17 and some of those levels, you could get it up to level 15. You get a good amount of dispatches you can do every day, and you get a good amount of daily travels. So even if you're still upgrading this building, you want to do your travels and your dispatches every single day. Every single day. Okay, and so when you do that, you come into the building, and the first thing you have is your travels. Now, I've already done my travels today, but you essentially get to run your travels for you get to run 20 of them at level 25, and if you're like level 18, 20, you get to run like 16, 17, or 18 of them, okay, every day, and they're free. All they cost is AP, all right? You get to select which formations, and we'll talk about those formations, but you get to select which formations you want the armaments for, okay? And the game will give those to you. In addition to this, you're gonna have the dispatch. Now the dispatch, they do an automatic dispatch down here. You could choose whichever one of the armaments that pops up in your dispatch that you can go do. Again, doesn't cost you anything but AP, okay? And so you want to do this every day. Before you spend any AP, when reset happens, you want to go hit this stuff. And you want to have your dispatches going and your travels going every single day. That's where you ramp up all of your armaments. Now, the beauty with the beginning, okay, and what armaments are, these are what armaments are, okay? It's really pretty simple. You have your gear, and then you have this little icon down here. These are your armaments, okay? No matter which commander you've got these armaments for. Let me go to an armament setup over here that's not so crazy like my other ones. This is an armament setup that I have, okay? You will see these different inscriptions, and they're based off of whichever slot. Now, this is what you have to understand, okay? You have 4 different slots. You have the scroll slot, you have the instrument slot, you have what we call the banner slot or the flag slot, and then you have the emblem slot, okay? And no matter which formation you choose, they all kind of are similar with the different inscriptions you can get when it comes to the rare and special inscriptions, okay? So you have 4 slots that you're trying to get. And it doesn't matter if you put blue, if you put purple, or if you put gold armaments here, it will help your overall stats. Okay, and when you're new to the game, this is the easiest way to get additional stats in Rise of Kingdoms. Okay, now for me, even if you've got blue stuff, you want to try to get triple stacks on this blue stuff. Okay, you open up these armaments, or you get them from the travels, or you get them from the dispatch, and the blue is very low percentages. Okay, but it gives you something when you're starting out in the game. 5% of attack collectively on all your armaments is great. 5% of health is great. You get into the epic stuff, and all of a sudden those numbers start going up a little bit more and a little bit more. Okay, you're reaching up to what, 2.4% on just one armament. And then you also get these inscriptions for the epic side of things. Okay, and so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for inscriptions. You're looking to be able to do different things with your inscriptions. Okay, and so that's how you want to do your armaments. So if you have armaments, you have to apply them based on the formation. Okay, we have all these different types of formations. All right, so let me go through it as we reviewed, just like we talked about. You've got the scroll slot, the instrument slot, the flag slot, and the emblem slot. Then you have all these different formations you can work on. The arch formation is known for the normal damage stuff. This is like the Attila formation, okay? And normal damage helps increase the effectiveness of smite and combo when you get it to later game with commanders in the later game, okay? So you have arch, you have wedge, which is what's on Zuge, and in the early game, wedge is where you want to be, because most of the early game commanders, and we'll talk about that, are skill damage commanders. There's not a whole lot of smite and not a whole lot of combo commanders in the early game. Okay, you have V formation, which is ranged. Okay, this is really, really good if you're wanting to run a siege march, which I encourage just about everybody who's starting the game to work on a siege march. All right, you have echelon. This is a very nuanced type of formation that does additional buffing. This is honestly more for Canyon and your Trajan and your Constantines and your Phillips and Canyon. That's what this formation is for. Not a lot of people run it in the field. Okay, you have hollow square. This is one of the old formations. This is a damage mitigation formation, but it's dated pretty good. Nobody runs this. You don't run it with your field marches. You don't run it with your rallies and garrisons, unless you're maybe a leadership garrison and you run straight mixed troops in a garrison with Hera and YSS, or Hera and Lapu Lapu. I know a buddy of mine that's a 300 member in Gypsy. Gypsy's working on his hollow square set. Trauma has a hollow square set in 606. These guys that run the hollow square on their leadership stuff is incredible. However, that's very rare. I never encourage players to go for hollow square. Okay, you have the line formation, which this is what you're going to put on all your gathering commanders. And when you have line formation, you have all these different types of buffs you can get with your gold gathering speed, your enrichment. I still have on my main march, which has got my guy over here, I still have a purple armament on here. And so these are where you get your gold gathering and overall resource gathering enhancement from the line formation. You have your triple line formation. This is your speed formation. Nobody uses this in the field. Okay, I don't encourage anybody to do this in early game. Don't use this in the field. You use this honestly for Arc, for your Arc and Osiris League, for your CC March, also for your CC March, your Cow March in your one troops. When you're going to get like a rune or something like that, or you're joining a one troop, might as well put triple line on here because it's going to go much faster. All right, then you have the Testudo formation. This formation's kind of a flop. Okay, they introduced this formation. It does cool stuff when you're shielded, and it does cool stuff with healing. It's kind of the weird CY Hera formation, but nobody uses Testudo. Like, just nobody I know has a busted good set of Testudo. You're not going to run it in the field. Don't worry about that. The circle formation is a big thing when it comes to healing. This is the formation people run on CY. And CY obviously is the archer garrison that does a lot of healing, okay? You can run this formation on Richard early in the game. I don't suggest you do it because typically you're going to run Richard with another buffing march, or you're going to run him with a damage dealer, okay? And so I don't really encourage anybody to do circle circle. Here's staggered. This is for your reinforcements when you're trying to get to rallies and garrisons quicker and you're trying to stuff flags or stuff rallies. You can actually get a lot more march speed in doing so with staggered, but nobody pulls for staggered. You don't want to do that. You don't want to waste your armament openings trying to pull armaments for the staggered formation. Then we've got Delta, okay? Now in the later game, Delta is crucial. You will run this on your combo marches, all right? Not a lot of combo marches early in the game, and so you don't have to worry about it initially, all right? But you just know what that is, and you know how this works, and when you start getting into commander swaps in KVK3 and you're having access to Arthur and Achilles and Gang and all these different commanders that do combo damage, then you'll see that this is really, really good, all right? In addition, we have Pincer, same thing for Smite. Not a lot of Smite commanders early in the game. I think we've got CJ, and that's about it. And so from there, I don't encourage people necessarily to work on Smite early in the game. Now, I will tell you how to do your travels, but Smite is something with Pincer you don't really want to mess with because, again, the early game commanders are mostly skill damage. You also have the double line formation that's against Barbarians. It gives you some extra march speed when you're going to Barbarians. That's kind of meh. I mean, nobody really gets this. Then you have Tercio. Tercio is an interesting dynamic because it has crazy city defense skills. The best thing with Tercio is no matter what you put on this thing, all the stats go for all troop types. It's really, really cool. And so you don't need to worry about that in early game. Honestly, you want to focus in early game your Wedge, okay? That's what you want to focus. So first and foremost, in the early game, when you go to your state forum, all right, you ought to have it set up just like this. Don't do Arch. You do Wedge, Delta, and Pincer, okay? Those are the three you use. Now, the reason why, and I think I need to take Delta off this and add Arch, is because I'm actually working my pity for Arch, okay? We'll talk about the pity later, but that's not what you want to run. If you're in the early game, you're running Wedge, you're running Delta, and you're running Pincer. All right, but you're really wanting to focus on the Wedge and get good armaments for that. As you get good armaments for Pincer and Delta, you just hold on to them. You lock them and you keep them because you might use them later, okay? And so that's basically how that works, all right? And so from there, when we look at this, it's the same thing with your dispatches. You can do the exact same thing. You make sure you've got Wedge, Delta, and Pincer. That's what you want to do, okay? And when you're starting out the game and you're getting into KVK 2, 3, and even into KVK 4, that's what you want to start with, all right? And so with that, a lot of people kind of try to understand why Wedge. Well, in the early game, just about all the early game commanders are skill damage commanders. And let me show you what I mean by that, okay? Early game commanders include like Cyrus, they put in K2, all right? He is a skill damage commander. CC, he's a skill damage commander. These are all commanders that benefit from the Wedge. All right. You even got like Mehmed. He's a skill damage commander. All right. These are all skill damage commanders that benefit from the Wedge formation. There's Saladin. Saladin is a skill damage commander. Okay. Even Freddy, if you're lucky enough to get Freddy early, he's a big damage dealer that's a skill damage commander. Even Ethel, skill damage commander, okay? You've got, let me see, Saladin is a K2 commander, so is Tommy and Edward. These are all KVK2 commanders, and these are big skill damage commanders. That's what you want. Thutmose is a skill damage commander, okay? And even in K2, Alex, even though he doesn't do damage off his active skill, his instant proc is based on direct damage, which is skill damage. And then you've got YSG, all right? Probably one of the most broken commanders they've ever put in the game. He does massive 5-target AoE for the early game, and he's a skill damage commander, okay? In addition, Barca, even though Barca doesn't do much, for those of you spenders out there that are going to get Barca, he's a skill damage commander. And then you have Mina, who's probably one of the more famous commanders, but you got to buy him. He is a skill damage commander, okay? So in the early game, that's what you're looking at. You come down here into the epics, you got Babbers. Babbers is a skill damage commander, and he does a lot of damage. He does not have a damage mitigation on this, so the 5-target AoE of 1000 damage factor is actually pretty good, okay? You've got other commanders in here. Let me see. You got Boudica, that's a skill damage commander for killing barbs. You've got Belisarius, skill damage. Sun Tzu, one of the best KVK1 commanders you can have, is a skill damage commander. These are all skill damage commanders, if you guys haven't picked up on that already. Okay, I missed El Cid. There we go. Got to get our fat man El Cid in here as well. Skill damage commander. And so with that, you want, excuse me, you want to work, sorry for the sneeze, you want to work on the, with that, you want to work on the wedge formation. That's what you want to work on, okay? So when you come into your form, you make sure that your wedge is selected, all right? So when you open this, and here, I'll just open one here. I'll spin some gems, and there we go. You'll get something like this. And you're thinking to yourself, well, Chadsky, I don't have any stats here other than cavalry march speed. Well, if you don't have anything, go ahead and start equipping this stuff. That's the beauty of the armaments, and I just got lucky. I got a windfall. Look at this thing right here. With 2.5% defense and these stats, if I'm in the early game, I immediately go put that on like a Martel Sun Tzu march. Why not? And so from there, those are some of the things that you can do early in the game, and you can get great benefit for free every day. All of your marches are to have these armaments on them, okay? And so what happens when you open up, not only from the situation to where you have the state form with your travels and the state form with your dispatch, regardless of if you have that, you're also going to get these guys, okay? Through different events and stuff, you're going to get choice chests that you open up for. All right. Now, I've recently gotten my pity on Wedge, so I'm not going to open up Wedge anymore. I'm going to open up Arch. And when you open this thing up, it's pretty simple. You get a chance to get, even though they were purple chests, you have a chance to get a legendary chest, okay? And so from there, you see what you're able to get out of this. And these are things that you can use in the early game very, very quickly. All right, with the different inscriptions that they have, it works out really, really well. Okay, and so as you run these up, all right, because a lot of people say, Chadsky, I'm seeing your videos and I'm seeing that you have gold inscriptions. Yes, I have gold inscriptions. I have a whole bunch of them. I have so many gold inscriptions. I'm one of the highest special inscription players in the game, I think at 29. Okay, Addy's got like 34 or 35. Hope and Lion have like 29 or 30 or 31. And there's other players out there that have a lot, but it is insane how much money had to be spent. I don't want you guys to necessarily spend money. However, when you do your armaments, and every time you open up an armament for a particular formation, it's gonna go into your pity system. So let me explain this, okay? Let me see. I've got, where's my CJ? I've got my Arch on something. You see how my wish list down here is 1 out of 10? Okay, well, that's your wish list situation. That means if you come down here and you click this little eye right here for your Arch formation, that's what I'm doing for Attila right now, and I click that, you come down here and it says of the next 105 legendary armaments you acquire for the Arch formation, you will be guaranteed to receive an armament to the Arch formation with a rare or special inscription. Okay, just so we're all on the same page. Every single armament, I click this codex thing down here at the bottom. It gives you the codex for all the armaments. And every armament has its own set for each slot. Okay, just like we talked about. Scroll slot, instrument slot, banner or flag slot, and then emblem. Okay? And they've all got special inscriptions that are different for each one. And each formation is completely different. Well, you're opening up for Wedge. So you're trying to get the blues here, which are the rares, which is a really good special inscription with Rage here and Crazed. Or you're trying to get the Hunter. Okay, the Hunter here is the special inscription. So you have rares and specials for every single slot, and they're all different. And that's what you're trying to attain. Now, if you're looking at it saying, Chatsky, I've seen your channel, I've seen other players, I don't want to run skill damage in the end game. What do I do in the early game? Well, in the early game, it doesn't matter. You still open up Wedge for the early game because all your commanders are going to be skill damage commanders anyways. Now, we have these things called conversion stones, and what you can do is that if you have something, let's say you've developed your Wedge set, and this is a Wedge set here that you want to convert for whatever reason to Delta, okay? Or I'll come down here. Let me see. Is there another one I have here? where is another one of these? Okay, let me just do this. Let's say you've got something like this and you want to convert it to Delta. This is like a wedge set situation that you've got here, and you're saying, hey, I want to convert this. I'm getting into SOC. I'm going to go get Gang and Achilles, or I'm going to go get Arthur and Achilles and run a Delta. You can take any one of these armaments, regardless of which one it is, okay? And this armament has one inscription. Well, when I hit that little arrow button right here, this is a wedge armament for the wedge formation, okay? It's for the flag slot. When I hit this armament, I can choose to change my wedge formation armament to Delta. And it's going to tell me exactly how many conversion stones it costs. Now, you get these conversion stones in KVK. You can get them in events in the game. They're very, very important and very valuable. But in the early game, you want to do two things. If you remember nothing from this, you do two things. You open up all your armaments for wedge. You see if you can get any rare inscriptions with that. And if you get lucky enough to get a special inscription, that's amazing. And in addition to that, you run all your travels and all your dispatches for wedge along with pincer and Delta, and you keep running up your wedge. Okay, that's the first thing that you do. The second thing that you do is that you are going to save your conversion stones. Okay, you get these conversion stones through different means. Let's say we want to switch this to Delta. We switch it over. You can get those conversion stones to switch your wedge armaments that you've been collecting all early game, and then you can switch them over to Delta when you're ready to upgrade your marches with your commanders that do different things, like combo for Delta. Okay, and so that's how this stuff works for you young people in the game. That's how it works. And so if you have to remember two things, remember that. Early game, open wedge. Just open wedge nonstop. Try to get your wish list up as high as possible. And with your wish list, as you get this thing up to 3 and 4 and 5, you're getting closer to get a special inscription. Now, here's what you need to know about special inscriptions, okay? The only way you can receive the instrument and the emblem special inscription is through your pity. It's through this wish list. That's the only way you can get it. All right. And so people know this. These are the two hardest inscriptions to get. I don't care what formation it is. These are so hard to get, the instrument and the emblem. Okay. When you win a KVK, all right, you get something called an autarch. When you win KVKs, you have the ability to buy an inscription from the inscription shop. All right, you see that I've been named autarch 3 times. Now, I haven't been named autarch 3 times, or I've only been named it 3 times because I'm generally finishing in the top 10. If you perform exceptionally well at a KVK, you don't even need to get an autarch because they give you an automatic one for being a high rank player in the KVK. But when you get that autarch, okay, like we had talked about, we come down here to the codex, you have the what we call the scroll slot in every formation. Let me come back down here to the wish list. Okay, we had talked about this. Let me go back to my Guan here and got the wish list here for the emblem, and that's the other one you want to do a wish list for in the instrument. Now, this scroll slot, no matter which formation that is, you can get the Hunter special inscription in the KVK shop with an autarch. If your team wins KVK, one of your rewards is that you get an autarch and you're able to get that. Okay. Now accounts that have been in this game a long time and won a bunch of KVKs, y'all, they've got like 6, 7, 8 of these things. Okay. And that's why the scroll slot is very popular, and there's a plethora of them. Everybody's got all these scroll slots. Okay. And they're all different for each formation. The scroll slot, you have destructive. I hate destructive for arch, but for wedge, you got hunter. Okay. For V formation, you got sharpshooter. All right. You come down in here to Delta and pincer. For Delta, you have thrasher, massive, and for pincer, you have toppler, which is big boost to smite damage. Okay. And so these are very valuable. So you get the scroll slots from the KVK wins, okay? So now that we talked about that, you're like, Chatsky, I get the emblem and I get the instruments from the pity, from this wish list right here. I get the scroll slots from KVK. Well, how the hell do I get the flag? Here's how you get the flag, okay? As you collect armaments, all right, you are going to recycle them. Now, they have an easy way to do this. You can just click recycle, and if you're very, very smart, you lock the armaments that you want to keep. You always lock the ones you want to keep, all right? And so from there, you see these that I don't have locked, all right? Wait a minute, 0.8% all day. Okay, I don't need that locked. So I have all these armaments, all right? I've got purple ones, I got blue ones, I got legendary ones, which are orange. I got all these armaments, and I do not need them. All the ones I have locked, I want to keep. I want to recycle the rest of them. Well, you can just hit select all, or you can individually go and select the armaments you want to recycle. I hit confirm. I get two different types of currency. For the blue and, let me come over here. For the blue and for the purple armaments that I recycle, I get this currency right here. These are silver coins. Each week, this little shop here refreshes, and I can get transmutation stone with that currency. I can get other epic chests with that currency. There's only 2 I can get a week on this. There's 20 of the elite chests, the blue chests, that I can get every single week. So that's why you recycle. Then you saw the other currency. You come over here to Superior. This is the gold coin, okay? As you ramp up your recycling of your legendary inscriptions, like I said, when you recycle legendary inscriptions, or legendary armaments, you get these gold coins. Well, when you get 180 of them, you just saw I recycled 77 of them. You get 180 of them, you get a shard chest, okay? This shard chest gives you either transmutation stones, or it gives you inscriptions you can apply to different formation slots. As you see here, it's got Warcry for the scroll. It's got Brutal for the instrument. It's got Spiked for the flag. It's got Infamy for the emblem. Those are all attack benefits of inscriptions. These are all 3.5% attack. Okay, then you have Valiant for the scroll slot. You've got Fearsome for the instruments. You have Warflames. That's an all damage inscription you can put on any flag. You can apply these inscriptions to a formate or to an armament that does not have, like, you got good stats, but you don't have any inscription on it. You can apply these. Okay, I have a couple of these. Let me just show you here. If I wanted to take an inscription like this, and I wanted to inscribe it, I have 3 calm inscriptions. This is calm. This is an inscription. Okay, I got this from that autarch shop I showed you in the Courier Shop. Okay, I can inscribe this if I want. I hit inscribe, I hit yes, and it applies this inscription to these stats here for my scroll slot. Okay, and it's really, really easy to use. All right, and so from there, that's what you get with your shard chest. Now, when you recycle enough to where you have 8 shard chests, because you also get a shard with this, okay? And when you get a shard and you get 8 of them, then you can buy a special inscription. And like we talked about, this is for what? This is for the flag slot. This is that last slot we talked about that's really, really hard to get when you're looking at the armaments that you have. Emblem and instrument you have to get in the wish list pity down here. The scroll slot you have to get in KVK rewards, and then the flag slot you get in your Courier Shop. That's how you get the flag slot, okay? So as you're ramping up your recycling, you can come in and get those, all right? This is very in-depth and it's very mundane for a lot of the older players to hear, but this is how you ramp that up. You get to 8 shards, then now you can select whichever special inscription you want on whichever formation you want, okay? It's the flag. It's only one, all right? It's the flag. There's the bounce for the flag on Wedge. It's great. That's the bounce inscription. That's the special inscription for the flag slot on Wedge, okay? You have Invincible. That's the flag inscription for the special inscription on the flag for Arch, okay? And that's it. There's no other special inscriptions for each formation. It's just one. All right, you have Steel Skin over here for Delta. Then you also have Airtight for you have airtight for your pincer. Okay, so that's how you get those inscriptions. All right, now with all that being said, that's the easiest way to do this. Okay, now people collect their armaments, and then you just got to figure out what you want to run. Once you start getting a collection of armaments, you can always go in here and just an armament like this, I can easily click to lock it. When you lock it, it doesn't let you recycle it. So you can keep your armaments, and that's how you do it, okay? But you want to have hundreds and hundreds of armaments, purple and blue, and you pick the ones that are going to work for you, that you apply to the marches you use in the field, apply them to your farming marches, apply them to your barbarian marches that you go kill barbarians with, and then from there you can recycle the rest because you're going to keep getting them every single day. And that's kind of your Armaments 101. As you get into K1, K2, K3, and you are fighting in the early game, you want to open armaments. You want to get your state form as high as possible with the level as fast as possible. You want to do your travels every single day. You want to do your dispatches every single day, and you'll run into some lucky ones with some purple stuff or some really high stats on some blue armaments. But that is how you develop it. And I tell people this all the time. Gear is a great way, regardless of if you're going with budget gear, and I have all those guides for you if you want to check out my channel and check out the equipment channel that I have. It is really, really good to talk about budget gear if you're making a march for the first time. It's the easiest way to get a bunch of stats for your marches. Okay, but you see these stats right here? That's equipment. All right, equipment's hard to get. Blueprints are hard to get. Armaments, easy to get. You get them every day, and you can run up your stats for your, armaments are like, if you start from scratch, they're the easiest way to add stats and effects from inscriptions to your march when you're in the early game. So that is how you do it, okay? And just like we said, as we review, you want to open up for Wedge. When you get these armament chests, you want to open it. You want to choose Wedge and open those up, and open up as many wedges as you can, because whether you're running a Mina CC march or you're running Sun Tzu or you're running Ethel, whatever you're running in the early game, most every commander is a skill damage commander that's going to benefit from the Wedge formation. That's what you want. Okay, so from there, when you get into the SOC and you get into the later game and KVK3, you get the swap event, you get a couple commanders that you've been saving for, and you want to get like an Arthur and Achilles, then you can convert some cool armaments that you have to Delta, and you can run those on your new marches. So that's the Armaments 101 with this. If you have any questions, this is what I always tell players. All right. My Discord is 8,000 strong, y'all. And my Discord is known for being a fun, great place for even beginners to go and ask questions. We nerd out at the highest level. We find so many things at the end game that people like lose their minds over. Like, we find stuff with new commanders, with new equipment, with new mechanics and nuances in the game. It is a high level Discord. However, we are free to play friendly, and we are extremely beginner friendly. Nobody can ask a stupid question in my Discord. You're going to get an answer for it. You're going to get players who are super experienced at the game helping you with your accounts. I have 2 channels in there and an Ask Anything channel in my Discord. The link is down in the description. We want to help you. Okay, so hopefully this video has helped some of you starting out the game. You're in K1 or K2 and you're trying to figure it out. That's how you do your armaments. They're very important. And if you have any more questions, go to my Discord or drop a comment down in the comment section. I always love getting in there. And if you enjoy the video, again, throw a thumbs up on here, give it a like, and really helps out the channel. And I love you guys, and I love the community, and I love to help players grow their account. And with that being said, we hope you have a great day, broskies.